47 times. That's how many times the mistress slapped me on live television. 47 times while I was 8 months pregnant. 47 times in front of a studio audience and a million viewers watching at home. My husband stood there, watched it happen, and protected her. Not me, her. But here's what nobody in that studio knew. Not my cheating husband, not his mistress, not the cameras, not the audience gasping in shock. I owned the entire television station. Every camera that recorded my humiliation, mine. Every paycheck they collected, signed by my authority. Every career they thought they'd built, existed because I allowed it. They thought they were destroying me on live TV. What they actually did was so much worse. For them. They woke up the woman who'd been sleeping for 3 years, and she remembered exactly who she was. This is the story of the 47 slaps and the revenge that followed. The first slap came before Tori could even register what was happening. The sound echoed through the studio. Sharp, wet, final. Tori's hand moved instinctively to her belly. 8 months pregnant. The baby kicked hard against her palm. Another slap landed, then another. You think you can destroy people's lives? Sienna Cross stood over her, trembling with rage. You think you can just walk around pretending to be perfect? The studio lights burned hot and bright. Camera 3 was still rolling. Tori could see the red light blinking through her watering eyes. Live television. They were on live television. 5, 6, 7. The baby kicked again. 8, 9, 10. Tori counted each slap like a metronome. It was the only way her brain could process what was happening. The audience had gone silent. Someone gasped. A woman in the front row covered her mouth. Sienna, stop! The floor director finally moved, but he was 20 feet away. 11, 12, 13. Graham rushed onto the set. Tori's husband, her partner of 6 years. Thank God, he would stop this. He would protect her. But Graham didn't grab Sienna's arms. He didn't step between them. He placed his hands on Sienna's shoulders gently. So gently. Sienna, calm down, he said. His voice was soft, almost tender. This isn't the way. Not the way to what? Tori's mind couldn't catch up. The baby kicked frantically now. She wrapped both arms around her stomach. 14, 15, 16. She needs to know the truth. Sienna's voice cracked. Tears streamed down her perfect face. Her makeup was running. The cameras loved it. She needs to know she's ruining everything. I know, Graham murmured. He was facing Sienna. His back was to Tori, but not like this. The truth hit Tori harder than any slap. Graham wasn't surprised. He wasn't confused or angry. He was trying to calm Sienna down. Like you calm down someone you know, someone you care about. 17, 18, 19. Security finally arrived. 2 large men in black uniforms. They grabbed Sienna's arms. She fought them. Her stiletto heel caught on the carpet. She stumbled. You don't belong in his world, honey, Sienna screamed over her shoulder as they dragged her toward the wings. You never did. The studio fell silent. 150 audience members stared at Tori. The cameras stared. Graham stared. His face was carefully arranged into shock and concern. But his eyes were calculating. Tori's face burned. Her left cheek, her right cheek, her forehead where one slap had landed too high. She could taste blood from her split lip. Cut to commercial, someone yelled. Cut, cut, cut. The red light on camera 3 blinked off. The spell broke. People rushed forward. The host of Wake Up Metro, a woman named Diana, appeared with a box of tissues. The floor director was on his phone. A production assistant brought water. Miss Barrett, are you okay? Is the baby okay? Diana knelt beside Tori's chair. She'd been sitting in this chair 5 minutes ago discussing maternity workplace rights. The irony tasted bitter. I'm fine, Tori said. Her voice sounded far away, underwater. The baby's moving. We're fine. Graham finally looked at her. He knelt down, taking her hand. His palm was warm and dry, steady, like always. Tori, I'm so sorry, he said. I had no idea she was capable of this. He was lying. Tori knew he was lying. She'd been married to this man for 6 years. She knew every expression, every micro movement. He was lying. You know her, Tori said quietly. It wasn't a question. Graham's jaw tightened, just for a second. Then his face softened again. She works here, at the station, director of the morning show. I've had to work with her on marketing campaigns. But I swear, Tori, I didn't know she was unstable. She said I was ruining everything, Tori said. What did she mean? I don't know, maybe she's having a breakdown, some kind of mental health crisis. Graham squeezed her hand. Let me call an ambulance. We need to get you checked out. I don't need an ambulance. For the baby, please, Tori, for our daughter. Their daughter, Emma. They'd already chosen the name. Emma Patricia, after Tori's grandmother. Due in 4 weeks. Mrs. Barrett, I really think you should let the paramedics examine you. Diana touched her shoulder gently. You've just been assaulted. On live television, Dawn, the station is calling 911 right now. Tori looked around the studio. The crew was huddled in small groups. Some were watching her, others were watching their phones. The assault was probably already online, already viral, her humiliation broadcast to millions. She'd come here this morning to talk about pregnant women's rights in the workplace, to discuss how employers should support new mothers. She'd worn her best maternity dress. Navy blue with white trim, professional, put together. Now there was blood on the white trim, her blood. The paramedics arrived 6 minutes later. By then, Tori had counted the slaps. 47. 47 times Sienna Cross had struck her, on camera, in front of an audience. And through it all, Graham had protected Sienna, not her. But what nobody in that studio knew, not Graham, not Sienna, not the million viewers watching at home, was that Tori held every single one of their careers in her hands. She was the owner of Channel 7, the sole decision maker, the woman with 73% of the shares, and she just decided it was time everyone found out. The ambulance smelled like antiseptic and something else. Fear, maybe. Old fear absorbed into the vinyl seats over years of emergencies. Tori lay on the stretcher. A blood pressure cuff squeezed her arm. The paramedic, a young woman with kind eyes, checked the baby's heartbeat with a portable monitor. Strong and steady, the paramedic said. 145 beats per minute. That's perfect. Graham rode in the ambulance with her. He held her hand. His thumb rubbed small circles on her wrist. It was a gesture he'd done 1,000 times before. Comforting. Familiar. Now it made her skin crawl. Tori finally looked at her phone. The screen was cracked. She must have dropped it during the attack. 247 missed calls. Her text messages had exploded. The numbers kept climbing. Jade had called 30 times. Her best friend, Patricia, her assistant, had texted 112 times. And there were texts from Graham's number, messages he'd sent while standing next to her in the studio. But there was another thread, a forwarded conversation from Patricia, messages between Graham and someone named SC. SC and Sienna Cross. Tori opened the thread with shaking fingers. SC, I can't do this anymore. I'm telling her today. Graham. No, not yet. Give me time. See, time for what? You said you'd leave her after the baby came. That was the plan. Graham, the plan hasn't changed, but we have to be strategic. If Tori finds out now, she'll make this difficult. She deserves to know the truth. She deserves to know you don't love her anymore. Graham, I never said that. I said it's complicated. Tori is my wife, the mother of my child. I have responsibilities. So, and what am I? Just some fun on the side? Graham, you know you're more than that. You know what we have is real. The messages went on, hundreds of them, spanning 14 months, since Tori was 3 months pregnant. Patricia had added a note at the top. I've been sitting on this for 2 weeks. Couldn't decide if I should tell you. After today, I have no doubts. I'm sorry, Tori. I'm so sorry. The ambulance hit a pothole. Tori's stomach lurched. Or maybe that was just the nausea, the recognition, the truth settling into her bones like ice. Graham had been having an affair with Sienna for over a year, and he'd known she was going to attack Tori today. Maybe not the exact violence, maybe not the slapping, but he'd known Sienna was at her breaking point. And he'd let Tori walk into that studio anyway. Tori, Graham's voice pulled her back. You okay? You look pale. Fine, she said. Her voice came out flat, empty. Just tired. We're almost at the hospital. They'll check everything, make sure Emma's okay. He smiled. That smile that had won her over 6 years ago. Charming, open, warm. She wanted to vomit. At the hospital, they put her in a private room. The emergency department was busy. A child cried somewhere down the hall. Machines beeped, shoes squeaked on linoleum. The doctor was a woman in her 50s with gray hair pulled back in a bun. She examined Tori's face carefully, checked her reflexes, monitored the baby's heartbeat for 20 minutes. The baby is perfectly fine, Dr. Martinez said. Strong heartbeat, good movement. You have some facial contusions, a split lip, bruising that will get worse over the next few days. She paused. But you know all this already. Yes, Tori said. Dr. Martinez gave her a long look, the kind of look that said she'd seen this before. Not on live television, maybe, but in exam rooms late at night, in whispered consultations, in the eyes of women who'd been hurt by people who claimed to love them. I need to document everything for the police report, Dr. Martinez said. They'll want photos, a detailed account. Is that okay? Yes. And I need to ask, do you feel safe going home? Tori almost laughed. Safe. What a ridiculous word. She'd been assaulted by her husband's mistress on live television. Her face was all over the internet. Her private pain was now public entertainment. But yes, physically she was safe. Graham would never hit her. He didn't need to. He had other ways of destroying her. I'm safe, Tori said. The doctor didn't look convinced, but she nodded. I'm going to step out. Take your time. If you need anything, press the call button. After she left, Tori sat alone in the exam room. Someone had given her a hospital gown. Her navy dress was in a plastic bag marked evidence. The police would want it. She touched her face carefully. Her left cheek was swollen. Her lip was split and puffy. She looked like she'd been in a fight, which she supposed she had been. The door burst open. Jade rushed in, her nurse's scrubs still on from her shift at the children's hospital across town. Her dark hair was pulled back. No makeup, eyes red from crying. Oh God, Tori. Jade's voice cracked. She crossed the room in 3 steps and wrapped Tori in a careful hug. I've been calling for hours. Are you okay? Is Emma okay? We're fine, Tori said. Her voice finally broke. We're both fine. You're not fine. That psycho attacked you on live television. Where's Graham? Is he here? Please tell me he's here. He was here. I sent him away. Good. Jade pulled back, studying Tori's face. I've been telling you for a year something was wrong. I've been telling you he was acting weird. Different. Distant. You saw it, Tori said quietly. It wasn't a question. It was a validation whisper, an acknowledgement of truth. I saw it, Jade confirmed. I didn't want to believe it, didn't want to accuse him without proof, but yeah, I saw it. He's been sleeping with her, Sienna, for 14 months. Jade closed her eyes. I'm going to kill him. Get in line. They sat together in silence. The machines beeped, the hospital hummed around them. Tori's phone kept buzzing. Messages, calls, the world demanding her attention. Finally, Jade spoke. What are you going to do? Tori looked at her best friend. Jade had been there through everything. College, her father's death, the wedding, the pregnancy. Jade knew her better than anyone. But even Jade didn't know the biggest secret. I'm going to destroy him, Tori said softly. I'm going to take everything he thinks he has, everything he thinks he's built, and I'm going to watch him realize he never had any of it to begin with. How, Tim? Tori smiled. It hurt her split lip, but she smiled anyway. Because Channel 7 isn't his world. It's mine. It always has been. Tori's house was dark when the Uber dropped her off at 11:30 that night. Graham had texted twice saying he was giving her space, staying at a hotel, taking care of some things at the station. Translation, staying with Sienna, managing the PR crisis, making sure his career survived. Good. She needed him gone. Tori walked through the silent house. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a kitchen with marble countertops that Graham had insisted on, A living room with furniture they'd picked out together, except they hadn't picked it out together. Tori had picked it. Tori had paid for it. Tori's inheritance had bought this house, but somehow over 6 years it had become Graham's house. Graham's success, Graham's achievement. She'd let herself disappear, let herself become the supportive wife, the woman behind the successful man. Her father would have been disappointed. Tori climbed the stairs slowly. Her body ached. The baby was heavy and low. Emma kicked steadily, a reminder that Tori wasn't alone. Not really. At the end of the hall was her father's study. Kenneth Barrett had died 3 years ago. Heart attack at 62. Too young, too sudden. He'd been in his office at Channel 7 when it happened. The station he'd built from nothing over 30 years. Graham had never been allowed in this room. Tori told him it was too painful. Too many memories. She wasn't ready to sort through her father's things. That was partially true, but mostly it was because this room held secrets. Secrets Graham couldn't know, not yet. Tori unlocked the door. The study smelled like her father, old books, coffee, that specific cologne he wore. Kenneth Barrett had been larger than life, loud, generous, brilliant. He'd taught Tori everything about broadcasting, about business, about power. "Keep this quiet until you're ready," he'd said on his deathbed. His hand had been so thin, so fragile. The ownership, the shares. Let people underestimate you. Let them think the estate trust controls it. But when the time comes, kiddo, you take what's yours. Tori had been 29, newly married, working as a freelance consultant because Graham said it was too awkward for her to work at the station her father owned. She'd been young, naive, in love. She'd listened to Graham, but her father had been smart. The ownership documents were airtight. 73% of Channel 7's shares went directly to Victoria Hayes Barrett. Not to a trust, not to a board. To her, personally. Marcus Brennan, the general manager, knew. Patricia knew. Her father's lawyer, Robert Whitmore, knew. But that was it. 3 people in the entire world. And now it was time everyone else found out. Tori opened the wall safe hidden behind a painting of Lake Michigan. Her father had loved Lake Michigan, loved Chicago, loved this city with its wind and its grit and its refusal to be anything but itself. Inside the safe were 3 folders. The first was ownership documents, stock certificates, legal agreements, articles of incorporation, everything showing that Victoria Barrett owned Channel 7. The second was personnel files, not the official HR files, her father's private notes, observations about key employees, concerns, warnings. Graham's file was thick. Tori opened it. Her father's handwriting filled the pages. Sharp, decisive letters written in fountain pen. Graham Barrett, marketing director, hired June 2017. Tori's new husband, capable marketer, but lacks integrity. Watches for opportunities to take credit for others' work. Builds alliances with the wrong people. Recommend limiting his access to financial information. Tori's throat tightened. Her father had seen it. 3 years ago, he'd seen exactly who Graham was. She kept reading. December 2018. Graham pushed for Sienna Cross's promotion to morning show host. His reasoning was sound, but his motivations suspect. I've seen how he looks at her. Recommend monitoring. March 2019. Graham requested access to station finances for marketing budget planning. Denied. He was angry. Tori doesn't see it, but I do. He married my daughter for the wrong reasons. The notes went on, detailed, damning. Her father had been protecting her even then. Tori wiped her eyes. She couldn't cry yet. There was too much work to do. The third folder was financial records, Channel 7's private accounts, the ones only the owner could access. She pulled out her laptop and logged into the secure portal. It took her an hour to find the discrepancies. Graham was good. He'd hidden it well. Small amounts transferred from discretionary accounts. Marketing expenses that were slightly inflated. Payments to vendors that didn't quite match invoices. Over 14 months, he'd stolen $340,000. Not borrowed. Stolen. The money had gone into their joint account first. Then quietly it had been transferred to an account in his name only. An account she'd never known existed. Tori pulled up the transactions. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry purchases. A weekend trip to Napa Valley in March. Another to New York in July. Graham's expense reports for those dates said he was at marketing conferences, but the credit card charges told a different story. Romantic dinners, couples spa treatments, a purchase at Tiffany's for $4,000. Tori had never received a gift from Tiffany's. She cross-referenced the dates with Sienna's social media. It took 5 minutes to find the proof. Photos from Napa Valley, photos from New York. Sienna had tagged the locations but not the company. But Tori recognized the watch in one photo, the Rolex she'd seen on Graham's wrist 2 months ago. He'd said it was a gift from a grateful client. Another lie. Another betrayal. The baby kicked hard. Tori placed both hands on her belly. "It's okay, Emma," she whispered. "Mommy's got this." Her phone buzzed. Jade. Jade, you home? I'm worried about you. Tori, I'm home. Can you come over? I need help with something. Jade, be there in 20. While she waited, Tori made a list. Everything she needed to do, everyone she needed to call, the evidence she needed to gather. Graham had spent 14 months thinking he was so smart, so careful, playing two women, stealing money, building his perfect little life. But he'd made one critical mistake. He'd underestimated the woman he'd married. Tori picked up her phone and called Robert Whitmore, her father's lawyer. It was nearly midnight, but Rob answered on the second ring. "Tori," he said. His voice was rough with sleep. "I saw the news. Are you all right? Is the baby okay?" "We're fine, Rob. I need your help." "Whatever you need, Ken's daughter. Whatever you need." Tori smiled despite everything. Rob had called her that since she was 5 years old. Ken's daughter. A reminder of who she was, whose legacy she carried. "Graham's been stealing from the station. I have proof, and he's been having an affair with Sienna Cross, the woman who attacked me today." Silence on the other end. Then Rob's voice came back, harder than steel. "Tell me everything." Tori told him about the messages Patricia forwarded, about the financial records, about her father's notes, about the Napa Valley trip and the Rolex and the $4,000 bracelet. "I want them gone," Tori said. "Both of them. And I want Graham prosecuted for embezzlement." "The board meeting is scheduled for Thursday morning," Rob said. "We can present everything then. You'll need to reveal your ownership publicly. Are you ready for that?" Was she ready? She'd been hiding for 3 years, playing the supportive wife, the woman who'd stepped back from her father's legacy because her husband's ego couldn't handle being married to the boss. She'd made herself small, invisible, forgettable. Graham had counted on that. Sienna had counted on that. They'd both looked at her and seen weakness. They were about to learn they'd been looking at the wrong thing the whole time. "I'm ready," Tori said. "I'm more than ready." "Good. I'll start preparing the documents. We'll need Marcus at the meeting. And Bryn from HR. Can Patricia gather all the relevant files?" "Patricia's probably still at the hospital. I'll call her tomorrow." "Get some rest, Tori. Thursday morning, we take back your father's station, and we show them exactly who you are." After they hung up, Tori sat in her father's study. The city lights glowed through the window. Chicago at night. Her city. Her father's city. Her station. For 6 years, she'd played the supportive wife, hidden her power, diminished herself. Let Graham think he was the successful one, the important one, the one with the career and the connections and the future. That ended tonight. She heard the front door open. Jade's voice called out, "Tori, where are you?" "Upstairs, Dad's study." Jade appeared in the doorway. She changed out of her scrubs, brought an overnight bag. She wasn't leaving Tori alone tonight. "What are we doing?" Jade asked. Tori smiled. It still hurt her split lip, but the pain felt good now, clarifying. "We're building a case," she said. "We have 48 hours before the board meeting. 48 hours to make sure everything is perfect." Jade sat down across from her. She looked at the folders, the laptop, the documents spread across Kenneth Barrett's massive oak desk. "I don't understand," Jade said slowly. "A case against Graham? How? He works at the station, but—" "The station is mine," Tori said quietly. "Channel 7. All of it. My father left it to me. 73% ownership. Graham doesn't know. Sienna doesn't know. Almost nobody knows." Jade's mouth fell open. "You own Channel 7? I own Channel 7. Holy shit." "Yeah." So when Sienna attacked you this morning, she attacked her boss on live television in front of millions of witnesses. And when Graham stood there and let it happen, he let an employee assault the station owner. Jade started laughing, then crying, then laughing again. Oh my God, Tori, they have no idea. No, Tori said. They don't. She looked at her best friend. Jade had been there through everything, through her mother's death when she was 12, through her father's death 3 years ago, through the wedding and the pregnancy and all the small moments in between. Jade had seen her at her worst. Now she'd see her at her best. Are you ready to watch me take down my husband? Tori asked. Jade wiped her eyes. I've been ready for a year. Let's destroy him. Morning light filled the bedroom. Tori had barely slept. She had kicked all night. Or maybe that was just Tori's anxiety. Fear and rage and grief all twisted together in her chest. She heard the front door open downstairs. Graham was home. Tori looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. Her face was worse today. The bruises had deepened to purple and green. Her left eye was swollen half shut. Her lip was crusted with dried blood. She looked like a victim. Broken, helpless, wounded, perfect. Tori carefully applied makeup over the worst bruises, not to hide them completely, just enough to show she was trying to look normal, trying to hold herself together. Graham needed to believe she was weak right now, vulnerable, easily managed. She put on a loose maternity dress, pink, soft, the kind of thing a woman wears when she needs comfort, when she's given up trying to be anything but pregnant and tired. When she came downstairs, Graham was in the kitchen making coffee. He'd showered, changed clothes. He looked refreshed, rested, like he hadn't just spent the night at a hotel while his pregnant wife recovered from assault. Tori, he turned, coffee cup in hand. His face arranged itself into concern. I didn't expect you to be up. How are you feeling? Sore, she said. Her voice was soft, uncertain. The baby kept me up. I'm so sorry. He crossed to her, pulling her into a gentle hug. I wanted to come home last night, but you said you needed space. I've been going crazy worrying about you. Lies, all lies. But Tori leaned into the hug, let him feel her weight, let him believe she needed his support. Have you eaten? Graham asked. Let me make you breakfast. Eggs? Toast? Just toast is fine. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where they'd shared 1,000 meals, where they'd discussed baby names, where Graham had kissed her and told her he loved her and promised her forever. Tori watched him butter her toast. His hands were steady, confident. He was a good liar. She'd give him that. I talked to the station last night, Graham said. Marcus and I had a long conversation. Sienna's been put on administrative leave pending investigation. The board wants to meet Thursday to discuss the incident. The board? Just protocol. Any workplace violence incident has to be reviewed, especially one that went viral. He handed her the plate. The video has 40 million views already. It's everywhere. 40 million people had watched her get slapped, had seen her humiliation, her pain, her frozen, helpless silence. I don't want to see it, Tori said. You don't have to. I'll handle everything. The PR team is working on a statement. The lawyers are preparing charges against Sienna. You just need to focus on you and Emma. So generous, so protective, such a good husband. Tori took a small bite of toast. Her split lips stung. Graham, she said quietly, can I ask you something? Anything. Did you know about Sienna, that she was unstable? Graham's face did something complicated. Surprise, calculation, then careful innocence. I knew she was difficult to work with, he said, demanding, a perfectionist, but I had no idea she was capable of violence. Tori, if I'd known, I never would have let you go on that show. Let her, like she needed his permission. She said I was ruining everything, Tori pressed. What did she mean? I don't know. Maybe she's having some kind of psychotic break. The police are investigating. They'll figure it out. He was so smooth, so convincing. If Tori hadn't seen the text messages, she might have believed him. I've been thinking, Tori said. She kept her voice small, uncertain. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should step back from public appearances for a while, until after Emma's born. Graham's relief was almost visible. His shoulders relaxed. His smile became genuine. I think that's really smart, he said. You've been pushing yourself too hard. All those speaking engagements, the consulting work. You should rest. Focus on the pregnancy. Translation: hide your face. Hide the evidence. Stay out of the public eye while I manage this crisis. Okay, Tori agreed. Whatever you think is best. She saw it in his eyes. The satisfaction, the belief that he'd handled this, controlled the situation, managed his wife. Graham finished his coffee and stood. I need to get to the station. Lots of damage control today. Will you be okay here? Should I ask Jade to stay with you? I'm fine, I just want to sleep. He kissed her forehead, careful of the bruises. I love you, Tori. We're going to get through this. I promise. After he left, Tori sat at the kitchen table for a long time. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock. She picked up her phone and pulled up the text thread with Patricia. Tori, I need you to gather all of Graham's expense reports for the last 14 months. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, everything. Patricia, already done. I've been documenting since I first suspected something was wrong. Sent everything to your private email. Tori, you're amazing. Patricia, no, I'm loyal. Your father gave me my first job. Believed in me when nobody else did. I'm loyal to him. And to you. Graham Barrett can rot, Tori. Thursday morning, board meeting at 9. Can you be there, Patricia? I'll be there with bells on. Tori called Rob next. How's the case looking, she asked. Solid as granite, Rob said. I've been reviewing everything Patricia sent over. The embezzlement alone is enough for criminal charges. Combined with the affair and his failure to protect you during the assault, he's finished. What about Sienna? HR violations going back 2 years. Sexual harassment complaints from crew members. Hostile work environment. She's been untouchable because Graham protected her. But once we reveal you're the owner and Graham has no authority, she's gone. Tori closed her eyes. It was really happening. After years of playing small, after years of letting Graham diminish her, after 6 years of being the supportive wife, she was taking it all back. Rob, Tori said, my father knew about Graham. He wrote notes, warnings. Ken always was a good judge of character. Why didn't he tell me? Rob was quiet for a moment. Then he said gently, he tried, kiddo, a few times. But you were so in love, so sure Graham was the one. Ken figured you needed to see it for yourself. He just didn't count on dying before you figured it out. Oh, Tori's throat tightened. I wish he was here. He is here. In you. You're Kenneth Barrett's daughter through and through. Thursday morning, you're going to make him proud. After they hung up, Tori went upstairs to shower. She stood under the hot water for a long time, let it wash away the performance, the pretense, the weakness. When she got out, she looked at herself in the mirror again. The bruises were still there, the split lip, the evidence of violence, but underneath it all, she could see something else, something harder, fiercer, stronger. She wasn't a wounded wife. She wasn't a victim. She was her father's daughter, and Kenneth Barrett had taught her to fight. Tori dried off and got dressed. Real clothes guys this time. Jeans, a button-down shirt, comfortable shoes. She had work to do. She had 48 hours to prepare. 48 hours to make sure every piece of evidence was perfect. 48 hours before Graham and Sienna learned the truth. They thought they'd destroyed her this morning on live television. Thought they'd broken her, humiliated her, reduced her to nothing. But they'd actually done something else entirely. They'd freed her. Wednesday morning, Tori drove to her father's old office building downtown. Not Channel 7, a separate building where Kenneth Barrett had kept his private business offices. Marcus Brennan was waiting in the conference room. He'd been the station's general manager for 8 years, a quiet, competent man who'd risen through the ranks from production assistant to the C-suite. He stood when Tori walked in. His eyes widened at her bruised face. Mrs. Barrett, he said, I'm so sorry about what happened. Call me Tori, please. She sat down carefully. The baby was sitting low on her pelvis. Everything hurt today. We've all been waiting for you to step forward, Marcus said. He pulled out a folder. For 3 years. Your father made me promise to protect the station until you were ready. I should have been ready sooner. You're ready now, that's what matters. The conference room door opened. Rob Whitmore came in, followed by 2 more people. Patricia, looking fierce in a navy suit, and Bryn Hartley, the HR director. A woman in her late 30s with sharp eyes and no-nonsense demeanor. Thank you for coming, Tori said. Bryn sat down across from her. I've been waiting 3 years for this meeting. You knew? Your father told me when he hired me. Said someday his daughter would take over and I needed to be ready to support her. He also said if anyone tried to undermine you, especially Graham, I should document everything. She pushed a thick folder across the table. So I documented everything. Tori opened the folder. Inside were dozens of incident reports, complaints filed by crew members, written warnings that had been issued and then mysteriously withdrawn, email chains showing Graham's interference in disciplinary procedures. And at the center of it all was Sienna Cross. 47 HR violations, Bryn said. That's just the ones we could prove. There are probably twice that many that went unreported. Crew members were afraid of retaliation. Why wasn't she fired? Graham protected her. Every time I recommended termination, he overruled it, said she was too valuable to the morning show, too popular with viewers. He found ways to undermine every complaint. Patricia leaned forward. That's not all. I've been tracking Graham's expense reports. Hotels that don't match his stated business trips, restaurant charges for 2 when he claimed to be dining with clients, jewelry purchases that never made it home to you. $340,000 total, Rob added, embezzled over 14 months, small amounts from discretionary accounts. He was smart about it, but not smart enough. Marcus shook his head. We all saw it, the affair, the special treatment, the way he looked at her. But your father had made it clear that Graham was never to know about your ownership. So we waited. We documented. We hoped eventually you'd step in. I'm sorry I took so long, Tori said quietly. Don't apologize, Patricia said fiercely. You had your reasons. You were dealing with your father's death, planning a wedding, building a marriage. We understood. But now, Bryn asked, are you ready to take control? Tori looked around the table. These people had been loyal to her father, had protected his legacy, had waited patiently for her to claim what was hers. They'd been more loyal than her own husband. The board meeting is tomorrow morning at 9, Tori said. I want Graham and Sienna there. Tell them it's a standard review of the incident. Don't let them suspect anything. Done, Marcus said. I'll present the ownership documents first. Then the embezzlement evidence. Then the HR violations. Then the security footage from yesterday's assault. We have footage? Patricia asked. Rob nodded. 4 different camera angles, all showing Graham's response, or rather, his lack of response. He didn't protect Tori, he protected Sienna. It's all on tape. Bryn made a note. I'll prepare termination letters for both of them, effective immediately, with cause, which means no severance, no unemployment, nothing. Graham will fight it, Marcus warned. He'll claim discrimination, wrongful termination. He'll make noise. Let him, Rob said. We have evidence of embezzlement. That's a criminal matter. The civil suits will be the least of his problems. Tori's phone buzzed. A text from Graham. Graham, how are you feeling? Missing you. Home late tonight. More crisis management. More time with Sienna, he meant. More planning, more lies. There's one problem, Tori said. Carolyn, Graham's mother, she's on the board. The room fell silent. Carolyn Barrett had been on the Channel 7 board for 5 years. Graham had pushed for her appointment, said it was important to have family representation. Tori had agreed because she'd been trying to be a good wife, a good daughter-in-law. She'll vote against you, Patricia said quietly. She'll protect her son. Maybe not, Rob said slowly. Carolyn Barrett is many things, but she's not stupid, and she's not corrupt. If we present the evidence properly, she might surprise you. I need to talk to her first, Tori decided, before the meeting. She deserves to know what her son has done. That's risky, Marcus warned. She could warn Graham. She could, Tori agreed, but she won't. I know Carolyn. She values honor above everything. Her own father was a thief, embezzled from his company and went to prison. She spent her whole life trying to prove she's different, that her family is different. Yet when her son turns out to be exactly what she fears most, Bryn said slowly, she'll be devastated. Yes, Tori said, she will be, but she'll do the right thing. They spent 2 more hours going over every detail, every piece of evidence, every potential argument Graham might make, every legal ramification. By the time they finished, Tori's head was spinning. But for the first time in 24 hours, she felt something other than pain and betrayal. She felt powerful. Tomorrow morning, Rob said as they prepared to leave, you walk into that boardroom and you take back your father's station. Are you ready? Tori thought about her father, about his warnings, his notes, his careful preparations. He'd known Graham was wrong for her. He'd known and he'd tried to protect her anyway. Now it was her turn to protect his legacy. I'm ready, she said. After everyone left, Tori sat alone in the conference room. The baby kicked steadily, strong and persistent, reminding her she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for Emma, too. For her daughter who would grow up knowing her mother didn't stay silent when she was wronged. Who would know that women could be powerful, could own companies, could demand justice. Tori picked up her phone and called Carolyn. Victoria? Her mother-in-law's voice was cool, careful. I was going to call you today. How are you feeling? Not great. Carolyn, I need to see you. Can we meet for lunch tomorrow? Before the board meeting? A pause. The board meeting is at 9. Then coffee at 8, please. It's important. Another pause. Then the cafe on Michigan Avenue, 8 o'clock? Thank you. After she hung up, Tori sat in her father's office building and looked out at Chicago. The city stretched out below her, gray and silver and endless. Her city, her father's city, her station. Tomorrow morning, she would walk into that boardroom. She would reveal who she really was. And Graham and Sienna would finally understand the magnitude of their mistake. They'd underestimated her, dismissed her, thought she was weak. But weakness had been her strategy, not her truth, and tomorrow the truth would set her free. The cafe on Michigan Avenue was busy at 8 in the morning. Business people grabbing coffee before work, tourists studying maps, students with laptops and headphones. Tori arrived first. She'd chosen a table in the back corner. Private, but not too private. She needed witnesses if things went badly. Carolyn walked in exactly at 8. Graham's mother was 62, but looked younger. Well-preserved, people said. Good genes. Expensive skin care. A lifetime of careful maintenance. She wore a cream-colored suit. Pearls, sensible heels, the uniform of a woman who'd married into old money and learned to look the part. Carolyn's expression was carefully neutral as she approached, but Tori saw the shock when she got close enough to see the bruises. Even with makeup, they were obvious. Victoria, Carolyn sat down across from her. Your face, it looks worse than it feels. A lie, it hurt like hell. Thank you for meeting me. A server came over. They ordered coffee. Neither of them wanted food. After the server left, Carolyn folded her hands on the table. I assume this is about Graham, about what happened at the station. Yes. I've been trying to reach him. He's not returning my calls. He's busy, Tori said, managing the crisis. Is that what we're calling it? Carolyn's voice was sharp. Victoria, my son's mistress assaulted you on live television. That's not a crisis. That's a catastrophe. Tori blinked. You know about Sienna? I'm not blind. I've seen the way he looks at her, the way she looks at him. Carolyn's mouth tightened. I raised him better than this. Their coffee arrived. Tori wrapped her hands around the warm cup. Outside the window, Chicago was waking up. People rushed past. Cars honked. The L train rumbled by on elevated tracks. I need to show you something, Tori said. She pulled out her tablet and opened the folder Rob had prepared. These are Graham's expense reports for the last 14 months. She turned the screen toward Carolyn, showed her the hotel charges, the restaurants, the jewelry purchases, the weekend trips. Carolyn's face went pale. And these, Tori continued, are credit card statements showing the same charges. Money that came from Channel 7 accounts. Money that Graham funneled through our joint account and then transferred to a private account I didn't know existed. How much? Carolyn's voice was barely a whisper. $340,000. Carolyn closed her eyes. Her hand trembled as she set down her coffee cup. My father was a thief, she said quietly. Did Graham ever tell you that? No. Albert Blackwood. My maiden name was Blackwood. My father worked as CFO for a manufacturing company. Respectable position. Good salary. But it wasn't enough for him. He wanted more. So he stole. For years. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Carolyn opened her eyes. They were wet with unshed tears. I was 16 when they arrested him. The FBI came to our house at dawn, put him in handcuffs. My mother and I watched from the living room window. The whole neighborhood watched. Carolyn, he went to prison for 8 years. We lost everything. The house, the cars, my college fund, everything. Carolyn's voice hardened. I swore I would never be like him. Never raise children who would be like him. I raised Graham to value integrity above all else. Tori's throat tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be honest. Is this everything? Is there more? Tori showed her the rest. The affair timeline, the text messages between Graham and Sienna, the security footage from the assault showing Graham's careful, calculated response. Carolyn watched it all in silence. When the footage finished, she sat back in her chair. He didn't protect you, she said. His pregnant wife was being attacked and he protected her. The other woman. Yes. Because he loves her. I think so. Yes. Carolyn was quiet for a long time. Outside, the city continued its morning rush. Inside the cafe, life went on around them. People laughed, ordered lattes, checked their phones. Finally, Carolyn spoke. I need to tell you something. About your father, Kenneth Barrett. Tori straightened. What about him? 6 months before you married Graham, your father called me. Asked me to lunch, just the two of us. Carolyn smiled sadly. He was very polite, very diplomatic, but his message was clear. He didn't trust my son. He thought Graham was marrying you for the wrong reasons. What did you say? I was furious. How dare he question my son's motives? How dare he imply Graham wasn't good enough for his precious daughter? Carolyn's voice broke. I told him he was wrong, that Graham loved you, that I'd raised a good man. Carolyn, your father was right, about everything, and I was too proud to see it. Tears spilled down Carolyn's cheeks. She didn't wipe them away. My son became the man I raised him not to be. He became his grandfather, the thief, the liar, the man who destroys everything he touches. Tori reached across the table, took Carolyn's hand. Her mother-in-law's fingers were cold. I have a board meeting in 45 minutes, Tori said quietly. I'm going to reveal something that almost nobody knows, something my father kept secret, and I'm going to ask the board to terminate Graham and Sienna immediately. What secret? Tori took a deep breath. Channel 7 isn't owned by an estate trust. It's owned by me, personally. 73% of shares. My father left it directly to me. Graham doesn't know. He's been working for me this whole time, stealing from me, lying to me, all while thinking he was the powerful one. Carolyn stared at her. You own the station? I own the station. And Graham has no idea. No idea. Carolyn started laughing, then crying, then laughing again. Oh God, Victoria, you brilliant, brilliant girl, just like your father. He kept it secret to protect you. To protect his legacy until I was ready. Are you ready now? Tori thought about the last 3 years, the way she'd diminished herself, made herself small, let Graham believe he was the important one, the successful one. She thought about the 47 slaps, the blood on her dress, the million people who'd watched her humiliation. She thought about Emma, growing inside her, listening to her heartbeat, feeling her strength. I'm ready, Tori said. Carolyn wiped her eyes. What do you need from me? The vote will be close. The other board members trust Marcus and Rob, but they'll look to you, Graham's mother. If you vote against him, it sends a message that he's guilty. Yes. And if I vote for him, defend him, then this becomes a family dispute. He and Graham against me, the grieving widow trying to preserve her husband's legacy. Carolyn was quiet, then she squeezed Tori's hand. I've made many mistakes as a mother, she said. I've been too protective, too blind, too proud. But I won't make this mistake. I won't protect a thief, not even my own son. He's still your son. He is, and I love him, but love doesn't mean enabling. It doesn't mean covering up crimes. It doesn't mean standing by while he destroys a good woman and an honorable legacy. Carolyn stood. I'll be at that meeting, and I'll vote with you against my son because it's the right thing to do. After Carolyn left, Tori sat alone at the table. Her coffee had gone cold. The baby kicked steadily, a reminder of time passing, of decisions made, of futures being written in real time. She checked her phone. 8:35. Graham had texted. Graham, board meeting at 9. I'll be there to support you. We'll get through this together. Love you. Tori didn't respond. She paid for the coffee and walked out into the Chicago morning. The wind cut through her coat. Lake effect wind. The kind her father had loved. I'm ready, Dad, she whispered. I'm finally ready. Then she drove to Channel 7 to take back what was hers. The board meeting wasn't until 9. Tori had 30 minutes. She drove past Channel 7, kept going, found herself heading toward her old neighborhood, the house where she'd grown up, the house her father had sold when her mother died. Tori parked across the street. A different family lived there now. The shutters were painted blue instead of green. The garden was different, but the oak tree in the front yard was the same. The tree she'd climbed as a child. Her phone rang. Jade. Where are you? Jade asked. I've been calling. Outside my old house, the one from before Mom died. Tori. The meeting's in 30 minutes. I know. Silence. Then Jade's voice softer. Are you okay? Tori watched the house. A woman came out the front door, 30s, carrying a toddler, loading the child into a car seat. Everyday life, normal life. Tori's life was about to explode. I'm scared, she admitted. Of what? What if I'm wrong? What if... Stop. Jade's voice was firm. You're not wrong. Graham stole from you. He's been lying to you for over a year. He let another woman assault you on live television on. You are not wrong. But what if the board doesn't believe me? They'll believe you. You have evidence, documentation, proof. What if they side with Graham anyway? What if... Tori, Jade's voice cracked. Listen to me. I've known you since college. 16 years. You are the strongest person I know. But for the last 3 years, you've been playing small, making yourself invisible. And I get it. You were grieving your dad. You wanted your marriage to work. But that Tori, she's not the real you. Tori closed her eyes. Who's the real me? The girl who started her own consulting company at 25. The woman who gave a TEDx talk about women in broadcasting at 28. The daughter who sat by her father's hospital bed and promised him she'd protect his legacy. That's the real you. I don't feel strong right now. Good, because strength isn't feeling confident. Strength is being terrified and doing it anyway. The woman with the toddler drove away. The house stood empty again, quiet, waiting for the next chapter of its story. Tori had been waiting too, for 3 years, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel strong, waiting for the perfect moment. But there was no perfect moment. There was just now. I should go, Tori said. Text me after. I'll be waiting. Jade, thank you for everything. That's what sisters do. Now go take back your station. Tori drove to Channel 7, parked in the underground garage. The same garage where her father used to park. The same elevator he'd taken every morning for 30 years. She rode up to the executive floor alone. The elevator doors opened. Patricia was waiting. Everyone's here, Patricia said. Graham, Sienna, all 8 board members. Rob, Marcus, Bryn, we're ready. Good. Patricia handed her a folder. Everything you need. Ownership documents on top. Then the embezzlement evidence. Then HR violations. Security footage is queued up on the conference room screen. Tori took the folder. Her hands were shaking. Hey, Patricia touched her shoulder. Your father used to say something before big meetings. He'd stand in front of the mirror in his office and say it to himself. What did he say? I belong here. This is mine. Nobody can take it from me. Patricia smiled. He said it before he bought the station, before every board meeting, before every major decision. He said it so many times it became true. Tori looked at her reflection in the polished elevator doors. Her face was still bruised, her lips still split. She looked tired, pregnant, young, but underneath all that, she could see it. The woman she'd been 3 years ago, the woman her father had raised, the woman who belonged in that conference room. "I belong here," she whispered. "This is mine. Nobody can take it from me." She said it again, louder. "I belong here. This is mine. Nobody can take it from me." Patricia nodded. "That's Kenneth Barrett's daughter. Now let's go show them." They walked down the hall together, past her father's old office, past the photos of Channel 7 through the decades, past the awards and the headlines and the history. This was her legacy, her birthright, her responsibility. Tori paused outside the conference room. She could hear voices inside. Graham's laugh, Sienna's voice saying something about ratings. They thought this was a standard board meeting. A review of an unfortunate incident. They thought they were here to defend themselves against some minor complaints. They had no idea their entire world was about to end. Tori placed her hand on her belly, felt Emma kick, strong and steady, her daughter, the next generation of Barrett women. "Ready?" Patricia asked. Tori opened the conference room door. "Let's begin," she said. The conference room fell silent when Tori walked in. 8 board members sat around the long table. Marcus Brennan at one end, Graham at the other. Sienna stood near the window, arms crossed. She'd dressed carefully, conservative suit, minimal makeup, playing the professional. When Sienna saw Tori's face, something flickered in her eyes. Not quite guilt, more like satisfaction. "Tori," Graham stood quickly. "You didn't need to come. I told you I'd handle this." "I know," Tori said calmly, "but this is my matter to handle, not yours." She walked to the head of the table. Marcus moved aside, giving her his chair. The position of power, the owner's seat. Graham's forehead creased. "Your matter? Tori, Sienna assaulted you. It's a criminal issue. The station's lawyers are managing it." "Sit down, Graham." Something in her voice made him pause, made everyone pause. This wasn't the soft-spoken woman they knew. This was someone else entirely. Graham sat. Tori looked around the table. She knew all these people, had met them at company events, smiled at them at Christmas parties. Let them think she was just Graham's wife, just Kenneth Barrett's grieving daughter. "Thank you all for coming," Tori said. "I know this was scheduled as a review of Monday's incident, but this meeting is about something much larger." She opened her folder, pulled out the first document. Ownership papers, signed and notarized, legal and binding. For 3 years, Channel 7 has been operating under the assumption that Kenneth Barrett's estate trust owns 73% of this station. That assumption is incorrect. Marcus slid copies of the document to each board member. Graham picked up his copy, started reading. His face went white. "Upon my father's death," Tori continued, "all ownership shares transferred directly to me, Victoria Hayes Bickert. I own 73% of this station. I am the majority shareholder. I am effectively the owner of Channel 7. The room erupted. "That's impossible," Graham said. "The trust—" "There is no trust," Rob Whitmore stood. "I was Kenneth Barrett's attorney. I drafted his will. Everything was left directly to his daughter, including this station." Sienna's voice cut through the chaos. "This is a joke. You're Kenneth's daughter, sure, but you don't know anything about running a television station. You're just what?" Tori's voice was ice. "Just a woman? Just a wife? Just 8 months pregnant and therefore incompetent?" Sienna's mouth snapped shut. Tori looked at Graham, her husband, the man she'd loved, the man who'd betrayed her in every possible way. "For 3 years, Tori said quietly, "you've been working for me, Graham. Every paycheck signed by my authority, every decision approved through my ownership, every promotion, every project, every dollar spent, all under my purview." "You never told me," Graham said. His voice shook. 3 years, our entire marriage. You never said a word." "My father advised me to keep it quiet. He said some people couldn't handle a wife with more power than her husband. He said some men would feel threatened. diminished. He said to wait until I was certain. Certain of what? Certain I'd married someone who could handle the truth. Graham's face flushed red. Around the table, board members shifted uncomfortably. This was becoming personal, messy. Graham, one board member said, maybe we should discuss this privately. No, Tori's voice cut through the room. No private discussions, no closed-door conversations. Everything happens here, now, with witnesses. She pulled out the next set of documents. Financial records, credit card statements, hotel receipts. Graham has been embezzling from Channel 7 for 14 months. Small amounts from discretionary accounts. $340,000 total. The money was funneled through our joint account and into a private account I didn't know existed. Marcus distributed the evidence. Tori watched the board members read, watched their faces change from confusion to shock to disgust. Those are legitimate business expenses, Graham said. His voice was desperate now. Marketing costs, client dinners, travel. Client dinners for two at romantic restaurants? Tori asked. Weekend trips to Napa Valley in New York? A $4,000 bracelet from Tiffany's? She pulled up photos on the conference room screen. Sienna's Instagram, the weekend in Napa, the bracelet on her wrist, the Rolex on Graham's arm. These aren't business expenses, Tori said. They're gifts for your mistress. The room went silent. Carolyn Barrett spoke for the first time. Her voice was steady, but Tori could see the pain in her eyes. How long? Carolyn asked her son. How long have you been having an affair? Mom, it's not. I didn't. How long, Graham? 14 months, Sienna said. She lifted her chin, defiant. We've been together for 14 months, and yes, we're in love. Yes, Graham was going to leave her. After the baby came, we had a plan. Graham closed his eyes. Sienna, don't. Why not? She knows. Everyone knows now. We're done hiding. Sienna looked at Tori. You have everything, the money, the station, the perfect life. Graham felt invisible next to you. I made him feel seen. I made him feel important. You made him feel important, Tori repeated slowly. So he stole from me, from my father's company, to pay for your relationship. It wasn't stealing, Graham said. I work here. I earn a salary. I'm entitled. You're entitled to nothing. Tori's voice was cold. You're an employee, subject to my authority, and you've violated that authority in every possible way. She nodded to Bryn. The HR director stood. Graham Barrett has interfered in 47 human resources investigations over the past 2 years, Bryn said, all involving complaints against Sienna Cross, complaints of hostile work environment and verbal abuse, sexual harassment of crew members. Every time I recommended disciplinary action, Graham overruled it. More documents, more evidence. The paper trail of Graham's corruption spread across the table. And finally, Tori said, there's Monday's incident. The security footage began playing on the screen. 4 camera angles, all showing the same scene. Sienna standing, moving toward Tori. The first slap, the second, the third. Graham rushing onto set, not to stop it, not to protect Tori, but to grab Sienna's shoulders, to speak softly to her, to calm her down. The footage showed everything. His tenderness toward Sienna, his indifference toward Tori, his calculation, his choice. He chose her, one board member whispered, over his pregnant wife. He chose her. The video continued, 47 slaps. Tori counted them silently, 1 for each violation, 1 for each lie, 1 for each day she'd been too blind to see the truth. When it finished, the room was silent. I move, Carolyn said, her voice shaking, to terminate Graham Barrett and Sienna Cross immediately, with cause, for gross misconduct and criminal activity. Second, another board member said quickly. All in favor? Marcus asked. 8 hands went up, including Carolyn's. Graham's own mother voted against him. The vote is unanimous, Marcus said. 8-0. Graham Barrett and Sienna Cross are hereby terminated from Channel 7, effective immediately. All station access is revoked. Security will escort you from the building. Graham stared at his mother. You voted against me, your own son. I voted for integrity, Carolyn said. Something you have forgotten. This is insane, Sienna's voice was shrill now. You can't fire me. I'm the face of this station. The morning show gets the highest ratings. The morning show will get new ratings, Tori said, with a new host, someone who earned their position instead of sleeping their way into it. Sienna's face twisted with rage. She lunged toward Tori. Security grabbed her before she could reach the table. You think you've won? Sienna screamed as they dragged her toward the door. You think you're better than me? You're just a pregnant nobody who inherited Daddy's money. You didn't earn anything. You didn't work for anything. You're nothing. The door closed behind her. The echo of her voice faded. Graham stood slowly. He looked at Tori, really looked at her, like he was seeing her for the first time. You planned this, he said. All of it. You knew about the affair. You knew about the money. You knew I'd be here today. Yes. For how long? Monday night, after the hospital. That's when I saw the text messages Patricia forwarded. That's when I looked at the financial records. That's when I decided it was time. Time for what? Time to stop playing small. Time to stop pretending. Time to take back what my father built. Tori stood carefully. The baby was heavy, her back ached, but she stood tall anyway. For 3 years, I let you think you were the powerful one, the successful one. I made myself invisible because I thought that's what a good wife did. I thought that's what love looked like. Tori, but love doesn't look like this. Love doesn't steal. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't stand by while the person you claim to care about gets attacked on live television. Her voice broke, but she pushed through. You didn't protect me, Graham. You protected her. I didn't know she was going to... Yes, you did. The text messages prove it. You knew Sienna was at her breaking point. You knew she was going to do something. And you let me walk into that studio anyway. Graham's shoulders sagged. I never meant for it to go this far. But it did, and now you're done. Tori picked up her folder. Security will escort you out. You're not allowed on station property. Rob will be in touch about the embezzlement charges. The DA's office is reviewing the evidence. You're pressing charges? Tori, I'm your husband, the father of your child. You were my husband. Past tense. Divorce papers will be served tomorrow. And you'll always be Emma's father. But that doesn't mean you get to escape consequences. Graham looked at his mother. Mom, please, talk to her. Make her understand. No, Carolyn said quietly. You made your choices, Graham. Now you live with them. And so do I. Security arrived, 2 large men in uniform. They took Graham's access badge, his company phone, his laptop. He walked out of the conference room like a man going to his execution, shoulders hunched, head down, defeated. After he left, the board members started talking at once. Questions, concerns, plans for moving forward. Tori let them talk. She watched through the window as Graham crossed the parking lot below, got into his car, drove away. She felt Patricia's hand on her shoulder. You did it. You really did it. We did it, Tori corrected. All of us. Marcus stepped forward. What do you want us to do now? About the morning show? About publicity? Tori looked at the faces around the table. Her team, her company, her responsibility. Now, she said, now we rebuild. The way my father would have wanted. With integrity, with honor, with truth. And for the first time in 3 years, Tori felt like herself again. The press conference was scheduled for 3 in the afternoon. 5 hours after the board meeting. 5 hours for word to spread. For the internet to explode. For the story to become legend. Tori stood in the green room at Channel 7. Patricia was fixing her makeup, not covering the bruises this time, highlighting them, making them visible. Evidence by home. You don't have to do this, Patricia said. We could release a statement and handle everything through. No, Tori said. It needs to be me, in person, on camera, the same way I was attacked, on live television. Marcus knocked on the door. The press is assembled, every major outlet, local and national. We've got CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, all the cable news networks. This is going to be huge. Good. Tori, Marcus hesitated. Are you sure you want to reveal your ownership publicly? You could still keep it quiet. Let Marcus announce the firings. You could stay behind the scenes. Tori looked at herself in the mirror. The bruises, the split lip, the evidence of violence broadcast to millions. Her humiliation was already public. Her pain was already entertainment. She might as well take ownership of the narrative. "I'm sure," she said. The press room was packed, cameras everywhere, reporters jammed shoulder to shoulder. The energy was electric, predatory. They smelled blood in the water. Tori walked to the podium, stood in the lights, let them see her face. Let them see what Sienna Cross had done. The room quieted. "My name is Victoria Hayes Barrett," she began. "On Monday morning, I was assaulted on live television and by Sienna Cross, the host of Wake Up Metro. I was struck 47 times while pregnant, while discussing women's rights in the workplace. The irony has not escaped me." A few uncomfortable laughs. Tori waited for silence. "Today I'm here to make several announcements. First, Sienna Cross has been terminated from Channel 7, effective immediately. She will be charged with assault. I will be pursuing criminal charges as well as a civil suit." Hands shot up, questions shouted. Tori held up her hand. "Second, my husband Graham Barrett has also been terminated from Channel 7. He has been embezzling from the station for 14 months, $340,000. The evidence has been turned over to the district attorney's office. He will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law." More chaos, more questions. Tori's voice cut through. "And third, I want to address the question that I know many of you have. Why were these decisions mine to make? Why not the board? Why not the executive team?" She paused. Let the tension build. Let them lean forward in their seats. "Because Channel 7 is mine. I own 73% of this station. Upon my father Kenneth Barrett's death 3 years ago, full ownership transferred to me. I am the sole decision maker for this organization. Graham Barrett was my employee. Sienna Cross was my employee. And they're both fired." The room erupted. Questions screamed from every direction. "Mrs. Barrett, did your husband know you owned the station?" "No, almost nobody knew. That was by design." "Why keep it secret?" "My father advised me to wait until I was certain I'd married someone who could handle the truth. Turned out he was right to be cautious." "How long has your husband been having an affair?" 14 months, with Sienna Cross, the woman who attacked me." "Did you know about the affair before Monday?" "Not until after the assault. That's when I discovered the text messages, the financial records, the evidence of embezzlement and betrayal." "What will happen to the morning show?" "We'll promote from within. Someone who earned the position through talent and integrity, not through sleeping with a married executive." More questions, more hands. Tori answered them all. Calm, composed, factual, no emotion, no tears, just truth. After 30 minutes, Patricia stepped forward. "That's all the time we have. Ms. Barrett needs to rest. She's 8 months pregnant and has been through a traumatic experience." "One more question," someone yelled. "Mrs. Barrett, what do you want people to take away from this? What's your message?" Tori looked directly into the camera, into the lens, into the homes of millions of people watching. "My message is simple. Don't underestimate women. Don't assume that because someone is quiet, they're weak. Don't assume that because someone steps back, they're powerless. Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one everyone overlooks." She paused. Let that sink in. "And to anyone watching who's been betrayed, who's been hurt, who's been made to feel small, you're not alone, you're not weak, and you don't have to stay silent." The applause started slowly, then built, then became deafening. Reporters clapping, camera operators clapping. Even the cynical press corps, who'd seen everything, was moved. Tori walked off the stage. Patricia and Marcus flanked her, protected her from the surge of reporters trying to grab one more quote, one more soundbite. Back in the green room, Tori collapsed into a chair. Her whole body was shaking. "You were amazing," Patricia said. "Perfect, powerful. Your father would have been so proud." Tori's phone was exploding. Texts, calls, social media notifications. She scrolled through them with numb fingers. The video from the press conference, already had 10 million views, 20 million, 30 million. Hatash station owner reveal was trending worldwide. Don't underestimate women. Victoria Barrett. The comments were overwhelming. She owned the station the whole time. That's the coldest revenge I've ever seen. The way she stood up there with her face still bruised. Icon behavior. Imagine attacking someone on live TV and then finding out they own the whole network. The stupidity. Every cheating husband just felt a chill down their spine. Jade burst through the door. You're everywhere, every channel, every website. Tori, you're a phenomenon. I just told the truth, Tori said. No, you did more than that. You took back your power. You showed every woman watching that they can do the same. Marcus appeared in the doorway. Tori, you need to see this. He held up his phone. A news clip from CNN. The headline read, "Station owner reveals secret identity after assault." But it was the numbers that caught Tori's attention. The video of Sienna slapping her on Monday had gotten 40 million views. The video of today's press conference, 100 million views in 4 hours. 100 million people watching her take back her power, take back her life, take back her father's legacy. Holy shit, Jade breathed. Yeah, Tori said. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Ms. Barrett, this is Detective Sarah Collins with Chicago PD. I wanted to let you know that Sienna Cross has been arrested. She's being charged with aggravated assault, and the DA's office has accepted your case against Graham Barrett. He'll be indicted next week for embezzlement. Thank you, Tori said. No, thank you. What you did today, taking ownership, refusing to be a victim. My daughter watched your press conference. She's 15. She said you made her want to be strong like you. After the detective hung up, Tori sat in silence. Her whole body ached. The baby was pressing on her ribs. She was exhausted, emotionally destroyed. But she was also free. For 3 years, she'd been Graham's wife, Kenneth Barrett's daughter, the woman in the background, the invisible owner, the secret holder. Now she was just herself, Victoria Barrett, station owner, mother-to-be, woman who'd been attacked on live television and came back stronger. What now? Patricia asked. Tori looked around the green room, the same room where her father had prepared for interviews, where he'd planned his strategy, where he'd built an empire. Now, Tori said, now I go home. I rest. I take care of my daughter. And tomorrow I come back and run my father's station the way he taught me, with integrity, with honor, with truth. She stood carefully. The baby kicked, strong and persistent, a reminder that life was moving forward, that the future was being written right now. Tori walked out of Channel 7, past the reporters still lingering, past the cameras, past the lights and the cow and the madness. Jade drove her home. They didn't talk, didn't need to. Some moments were too big for words. When Tori got home, she walked through her house. Graham's things were still everywhere. His clothes, his books, his presents. Tomorrow she'd have it all removed. Tomorrow she'd change the locks. Tomorrow she'd file for divorce and start the legal process. But tonight she just wanted to sit in her father's study, to feel his presence, to know she'd done the right thing. She opened the safe, pulled out the last folder. Her father's final letter, the one he'd left for her to find when she was ready. Kiddo, if you're reading this, it means you've taken control. You've claimed what's yours. I'm proud of you. Running a company isn't easy. Running a television station in the modern era is harder. But you're my daughter. You're smart. You're fierce. You are capable of anything. Don't let anyone make you small. Don't let anyone diminish what you've built. And never apologize for being powerful. The world needs more women like you. Emma needs a mother like you. I love you, kiddo. Always, Dad. Tori pressed the letter to her chest. Let herself cry for the first time since Monday. Let herself grieve for her father, for her marriage, for the life she thought she was building. But also let herself celebrate for the truth, for justice, for freedom. She'd survived the 47 slaps. She'd survived the betrayal. She'd survived Graham's lies and Sienna's rage and her own fear. She'd done more than survive. She'd won. 3 weeks later, Tori was working from home when the contraction started. She'd spent the last 3 weeks rebuilding. New morning show host promoted from within. New marketing director hired from outside. Graham's entire department restructured. Sienna's show rebranded and relaunched. The station was thriving. Ratings were up. Employee morale was higher than it had been in years. And everyone knew who really ran Channel 7 now. But today, none of that mattered. Because Emma Patricia Barrett had decided it was time to be born. Jade, Tori called. Her best friend had basically moved in. Refused to leave her alone as the due date approached. Jade appeared in the doorway of the nursery, the room Tori had prepared so carefully. The room where she'd had her breakdown 3 weeks ago. "It's time?" Jade asked. "It's time." The labor was long, 16 hours, but Emma was worth every moment. 8 pounds, 4 ounces. Perfect. Healthy. Beautiful. Tori held her daughter for the first time in the hospital room, watched Emma's tiny face scrunch up, watched her breathe, watched her exist in the world. "Hi, baby girl," Tori whispered. "I'm your mom, and you're already the strongest person I know." Emma wrapped her tiny hand around Tori's finger, held on tight. The grip was surprisingly strong. "She's perfect," Jade said from the corner. She was crying, happy tears this time. Patricia arrived an hour later, brought flowers, brought cards from the entire Channel 7 staff, brought news that the station's morning show had hit #1 in the ratings. "Everyone sends their love," Patricia said. "The whole station is celebrating. Ken's granddaughter is here." Rob Whitmore came by that evening, brought legal papers for Tori to sign. The divorce was final. Graham had signed everything. Taken nothing, he was facing criminal charges and had bigger problems than fighting over assets. "It's done," Rob said. "You're officially single. Emma has a trust fund that's protected from Graham, and the station is secure." "Thank you," Tori said, "for everything. Your father made me promise to protect you, to help you when the time came." Rob looked at Emma sleeping in Tori's arms. "I think Ken would say we did okay." After he left, Tori sat alone with Emma. The hospital room was quiet. Outside, Chicago hummed with life. Cars honked. The L train rumbled past. The city continued its endless dance, but in this room, time felt suspended, precious, sacred. Tori thought about everything that had happened. The assault, the discovery, the board meeting, the press conference, the divorce. 24 days ago, her life had been destroyed on live television. 24 days ago, she'd been a victim, a wounded wife, a woman humiliated in front of millions. But she transformed that pain into power, that humiliation into justice, that betrayal into freedom. The door opened. Carolyn Barrett stepped in quietly. "I wasn't sure if I should come," she said, "but I couldn't stay away. I'm her grandmother. Whatever else has happened, I'm still family." Tori looked at her former mother-in-law. Carolyn had stood by her in the board meeting, had voted against her own son, had chosen integrity over loyalty. "You're always welcome here," Tori said. "Emma needs her grandmother." Carolyn crossed to the bed, looked down at the sleeping baby. Her face crumpled. "She's beautiful," Carolyn whispered. "Just like you. Would you like to hold her?" Carolyn nodded. Tori carefully transferred Emma into her grandmother's arms. Watched Carolyn's face transform with love and grief and hope. "I'm sorry," Carolyn said, "for Graham, for everything he did, for not seeing it sooner. You're not responsible for his choices, but I raised him. I should have taught him better. You did teach him better. He just chose not to listen." Tori paused. "My father tried to warn me about Graham. I didn't listen either. We can't control other people's choices. We can only control our own." Carolyn sat in the chair beside the bed, rocked Emma gently. The baby made small sounds, content, safe. "What will you tell her?" Carolyn asked. "About her father?" "The truth, age-appropriate truth, that he made mistakes, that people are complicated, that love isn't enough if there's no integrity behind it." "And about you? What will you tell her about what you did?" Tori thought about it. About the woman she'd been 3 weeks ago. About the woman she was now. About the woman she was still becoming. "I'll tell her that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up for yourself, even when you're scared, even when you're hurt, even when the whole world is watching." She's lucky to have you as a mother. I'm lucky to have her." They sat together in comfortable silence. 3 generations of women, connected by love and loss and survival. 6 months later, Tori appeared on the cover of Broadcasting magazine. The headline read, "Power Behind the Screen, Victoria Barrett's Revolution at Channel 7. The article detailed everything: the assault, the revelation, the rebuilding, the success. Channel 7 was #1 in every demographic. The station had won 4 Emmy nominations. Employee retention was at an all-time high. And Victoria Barrett was being called one of the most innovative station owners in the industry. But the best part? The photo on the cover. Tori sitting in her father's old office, Emma in a carrier on her chest. Both of them looking at the camera with the same fierce, intelligent, unbreakable gaze. Mother and daughter. Legacy and future. Power and promise. Tori hung the magazine cover in the hallway at Channel 7, right next to the photo of her father on opening day, right next to the awards and the headlines and the history. She walked through the station now with Emma in her arms, visited the control rooms, checked on production, talked to staff members. Everyone knew her, everyone respected her, not because of who her father was, but because of who she was. Strong, capable, fair, honest, the kind of leader people wanted to follow. Patricia appeared beside her. "Marcus wants to talk about the new evening newscast, and we got another offer from that producer who wants to do a documentary about you. Tell him no. I'm not interested in being famous for being attacked. I want to be known for what I'm building." "You're already known for that. Have you seen the industry press? Everyone's calling you the future of broadcast television." Tori smiled, looked down at Emma. Her daughter was awake now, looking around with curious eyes, taking in the studio, the cameras, the lights, the world her great-grandfather had built. "What do you think, Emma?" Tori whispered. "Want to run a television station someday?" Emma made a noise, not quite a word, but close enough. "I'll take that as a yes." That evening, Tori drove home through Chicago, the same route her father used to take, past the lake, past the skyline, past the neighborhoods where she'd grown up. Her house was different now. Graham's things were long gone. The locks had been changed. The space was hers again, safe, peaceful, home. She put Emma to bed in the nursery, sang her the same lullaby her mother used to sing to her, watched her daughter's eyes flutter closed, watched her breathe, watched her dream. Then Tori went to her father's study. She sat at his desk, pulled out a journal, started writing. "Dear Emma, you're 6 months old today. You can almost sit up by yourself. You laugh at everything. You have your great-grandfather's eyes. Someday you'll be old enough to ask questions. About your father, about what happened, about why mommy and daddy aren't together. And when you do, I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you that I was attacked on live television. That your father betrayed me in every way possible. That I had a choice to make. Stay silent or speak up. Play small or take up space. Be a victim or be powerful. I chose power. I chose truth. I chose myself. Not because I'm brave, but because I'm your mother. And I needed you to grow up knowing that women don't have to shrink, that we don't have to apologize for being strong, that we can own companies and raise babies and take up all the space we want. Your great-grandfather built something remarkable, and now it's mine to protect. Yours to inherit, ours to transform into whatever we choose. The 47 slaps taught me something important. Pain can either break you or make you unbreakable. Betrayal can either destroy you or set you free. I chose freedom. I chose strength. I chose us. And I'd make that choice again, 1,000 times. Because you're worth it, Emma. Because our future is worth it. Because the truth is always worth it. Love, Mom. Tori closed the journal, looked around her father's study. Soon she'd move these things to the station. Turn this room into something new. Something that belonged to her present, not her past. But tonight, she just wanted to sit here, to feel her father's presence, to know she'd honored his legacy, protected his work, become the woman he'd raised her to be. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jade. "Jade, saw the magazine cover, you look like a badass. Ken would be so proud. Tori, I am a badass. Took me a while to remember that. Jade, want to get coffee tomorrow? Bring Emma. I miss my goddaughter. Tori, sounds perfect. Tori stood, stretched. Her body had recovered from pregnancy, from the assault, from everything. She was stronger now than she'd been before. Not despite what happened, because of it. She walked through her house, turned off lights, checked locks, the routine of safety, of home, of peace. In the nursery, Emma was sleeping soundly. Tori stood in the doorway, watched her daughter breathe, watched her exist in the world. Perfect, protected, loved. Sweet dreams, baby girl, Tori whispered. Tomorrow we wake up and change the world again. She thought about Graham, about Sienna, about where they were now. Graham was facing trial. Sienna had left Chicago. The morning show assault video had made her unemployable. They'd lost everything. Their careers, their reputations, their future. And Tori had gained everything. Her power, her freedom, her truth. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was justice. It was consequences. It was the natural result of choices made and lies told and betrayals committed. She'd just been the one strong enough to enforce it. Tori went to bed that night thinking about her father, about his final letter, about his belief in her, his confidence that she could handle anything. He'd been right. She could handle anything, survive anything, overcome anything, because she wasn't just Victoria Barrett, grieving daughter, or Victoria Barrett, betrayed wife, or Victoria Barrett, assault victim. She was Victoria Barrett, station owner, mother, survivor, leader. She was unbreakable. And the 47 slap hadn't broken her. It had freed her, set her loose, reminded her of who she'd always been underneath the performance of being a good wife. She was Kenneth Barrett's daughter. And Kenneth Barrett had taught her to fight. So she'd fought, and she'd won. Not just the board vote, not just the press conference, not just the divorce, or the criminal charges, or the public vindication. She'd won herself back. And that was worth more than anything else. The first slap taught Victoria she was vulnerable. The 47th taught her she was unbreakable. And the truth set her free. If you stayed with me through this entire 90-minute journey, thank you. Your time matters. Your attention matters. And I hope this story gave you something worth keeping. Show some love with a like if Victoria's story moved you. Comment and tell me what moment hit hardest. Share this with someone who needs to remember their own power. And if you want more stories like this, stories of justice, transformation, and people who refuse to be broken, subscribe, because I've got dozens more. See you in the next story. Stay unbreakable.